Hi everyone, I'm Laurie and welcome to Aligned Wisdom. Today's subject is perspectives. So the reason I'm doing this is with the people that I'm helping a lot, quite often they need to shift the way they look at things. And I'm not saying you see something blue and you try and convince them it's green. Okay? What I'm saying is that quite often people, well, let's face it, they don't come to me unless they've got a problem. So when we're talking about the problem, they are so invested in the problem and they are so focused on the problem, they can't see anything else. They can't see a solution. So, what I'm talking about in perspectives is when you're so narrowly focused on something, you can't see anything else. So, imagine you're trying to play a game of chess and you know the game is over if you lose your king. So all you're doing is you're looking tunnel vision, here we go, tunnel vision, and you're looking at your king and you're doing everything you can to protect the king. You have no idea what's happening on the rest of the board. Now this is happening because you have tunnel vision or whatever, but what I call it is you're just too focused on the problem. And the problem in the game of chess is the problem you're trying to solve is to protect your king. So you're so defensive, you're not looking at offense. Okay? And it is the person who can step back and look at the entire chessboard and see what the problem is. Now you have to forgive me, I'm an ex-athlete, so I'm always going to talk about some sort of sports analogy or something. It's like another example would be a coach. The coach isn't playing the game. The coach is on the sideline, quite often up high in the box or something, and they're looking down and they can see the whole game. They can even see the opposition. This is why you have a coach. They can see the problems, they can help you fix them, they can see the opportunities that you missed, they can drill that new opportunity into you. Okay? So this leads me on to the solution. If you see a problem or you're experiencing a problem, you can't see your way out, stop and take a breath. Take a step back. Even pretend that you're the coach or you're just an observer to the problem. And look around, metaphorically I'm speaking of course, just look around and see if you can see a solution. Quite often it's right next door to the problem. So, if you're not into sports, here's another analogy, and I'm going to draw a picture and I'll show it to you. So, we've got here a window. Excuse, but I'm not an artist. There's a window. And you're standing over here. And you're very sad because you have a problem. Again, excuse the art. Now, through that window, you've all experienced this, I'm sure, especially in the early morning, you see the sunlight come through the window. So the sun comes pouring in through the window and it starts to light up the whole room. So there's the sunlight coming in. Now, you have a problem. That problem is signified by the dot. You keep staring at that problem and soon you can't see the sunlight. All you see is a problem, and that problem gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But here's what you do. You step back and you go, oh, okay. And now, all these little dots and stuff, just see if you can see that. There we go. Now, quite often what happens is you'll see those dots as dust particles settling. Now, just think that they're problems. They're so little, they're just going to solve themselves. They'll eventually land on the floor and you just vacuum them up. Life is like that. Quite often, I'm not saying you ignore big problems, but I'm saying quite often all the stuff's just happening around you. It's not happening to you. So don't get involved. Clean it up afterwards if you feel it. Okay? But see, you still have this problem here. But when you look back, look at all the empty space, all the beautiful sunlight. Look at all of that. So people who are solution focused, focused on the sunlight. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm saying is, metaphorically speaking, because don't just think sunlight's going to solve everything. When you take an observer approach, right, you step back, you can quite often see that there is more good than bad. Okay? And your problem suddenly seems even smaller. And when it's smaller, it seems doable or fixable. Now, to give you a personal account of something that happened to me, I was in a bad place after my divorce, and thankfully I'm happily married now. But there was a period there where I had no money. I had nothing. Everything was gone, and I even lost my business. I lost everything. So this isn't a woe is me tale. This is just what happens to a lot of us. The problem I had was I was like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to make money? How am I going to make money? I can't afford rent because now I didn't even have the family home. I'm renting. And the problem was I was focused on the problem. I was just like, how am I going to find the rent? How am I going to, and I'm looking for rent. That's all I'm looking for is looking for rent. And a friend of mine came up to me and said, well, all you got to do is make some money. So, of course, I'm in an angry mood. I'm pissed off. What the F are you talking about? If I had money, I wouldn't have any problems. I used to have money, I had no problems. Well, the reality is, I must have had a problem because I got divorced. So, I thought about it that night. I thought, shit, yeah, he's right. So I sent him a text, apologised. He was all cool about it. But here's the true meaning of the story. I was focused on finding rent. That's a limiting focus. It's too narrow. I started ringing around some of my contacts in the industry. Next thing you know, I had a contract. It was only 1 day a week. But that 1 day a week made me my weekly rent. So he was right. All you got to do is get some work or find some money. I got a 1 day a week contract. Next thing you know, I got another contract. Now I can afford rent and I can afford to feed my kids. Okay? Luckily, we didn't starve or anything. Obviously, you can tell I didn't starve. But the truth is this. I stopped focusing on rent and started focusing on money. Now that also has problems because all of a sudden you become focused too much on money. But at that moment in time, it served me well. I now focus on abundance because if all I'm doing is focusing on money, then that's, whether it's there or not, is a narrow focus, isn't it? We want abundance. So again, instead of focusing on money, I step back and I go, okay, I want abundance, please. And sure enough, what's happened? We recently went on our honeymoon. I wanted us to go business class, but I didn't want to pay $4,000 for a 3-hour flight. So we just paid a premium economy. And we thought, you know what? We're happy with that. What happens? They offered us an upgrade at a substantially discounted rate. I kept saying to myself, man, I really would like to do this business class, but hey, it's not going to happen. We'll do that on another trip. That was a form of me letting go. Okay? Instead of focusing, again, narrow on this business class and what I didn't have, I just went, you know what? It'll just be another day. What happens? It was another day. About a week before we left, got contacted by the airline. Hey, would you like an upgrade? Here's the new price. And it was less than half. It was a substantial discount. I went, sure, took it. So again, there's a problem being solved by me not focusing on the problem, but by me stepping back, detaching from the outcome, and focusing on a solution. So I hope this helps. If you want to hear any more, or if you don't want to hear any more, more to the point, stop watching. But if you want to hear more, tune in, and we've got some more clangers coming for you. Thank you.